Hi, it's Anitra. Last handful of days I've been dealing with COVID and it's been going okay. I think it's pretty mild for me. I've been curious how it would be. I don't think I'm immunocompromised, and the doctor basically said I'm not. I think I'm having a fairly mild response, which is great. Every month I get the infusion, the immunoglobulin infusion for my low platelets, and it's been kind of like a smooth process. A CBC and get my platelets checked, and then I go and I get the IVIG, and my numbers really don't get that low, and so it hasn't really been that eventful. One thing I've had to deal with is, I can't really go anywhere. I mean, we've been in COVID for a while anyway, so I made this plan. When I got cancer, I didn't know how long I'd have to live, and I wanted to do something fun with my daughter once a year. So we went on a train trip 2 years ago. We did the California Zephyr train ride from California to Chicago and Washington, D.C., and we had a great time. And then last year we went to Disneyland, which was pretty fun because the numbers were pretty low. They were still limiting the amount of people who could be there. So that was really fun. And then this year, I planned a road trip for us to go up to Oregon. So the timing of this COVID is like just terrible because they won't let me into the ambulatory treatment center to get the infusion if I have COVID. So I had everything totally scheduled to make it happen, and now I've just like had to refigure it all so that we could do this trip because I feel very committed to going. But I'll be going and I'll have this huge migraine, and I just have to deal with it. I'll be driving and we'll figure it out. That's great. I'm really looking forward to it. It's super fun to be able to do something with her. And I don't know how much longer I have to live. I hope I have a long time. So far, I'm still no evidence of disease, but I do like this now tradition for the third year of doing something fun with her. So you can really hear the hoarseness in my voice with COVID. I've been doing so many things. I should show. I have this nebulizer, and here's some of the things I'm taking. It's kind of basic: zinc, magnesium, quercetin, hydrogen peroxide, and silver, and the stuff called Congoplex I didn't know about, and carnivora, which is it's Venus flytrap, which is pretty interesting, huh? Doesn't it say that on there somewhere? It says it on the back. Venus flytrap. Where is it? Oh, there it is. There's so much to it that I have to make this whole list right here of what to do and when to do it, and I'm nebulizing, alternating that many times a day. I'm behind. I really got to get on it. So hopefully the COVID the viral load will decrease and leave my body because I can't get immunoglobulin if I'm showing a positive for COVID. So that's a bummer. I've made an appointment for a lymphedema specialist because I am now convinced that this is just fat. I think all of this, it's just I think I'm full of lymph in there. I thought it was all fat, but I don't know. This side's really tight, but this side had radiation, and this side just is very, I'm always complaining about this. It just seems like I'm full of fluid there, and I don't really understand because I wasn't radiated here. I didn't have lymph nodes removed on this side, so it's a little, I guess there was just the trauma of surgery, which can affect the lymph nodes. Man, I really had trouble on the non-cancer side, at least as much as on this side, if not more, the cancer side. So it's been such a bummer. That to me is really one of the downsides of having done a double mastectomy. I mean, there are upsides. I can't get cancer in the breast tissue there because there isn't any, but a major downside for me has just been that I've really suffered a lot of problems on the non-cancer side. So I finally just decided I will do the endoscopy. It's just been been an ongoing question for me, and I've been curious if I've had this blood in my chest, and I've thought I've had an infection, and radiation oncologist was saying he didn't think it was, but I'm hoping that when they do the endoscopy and they put the camera down, I don't know how far it goes, but I'm hoping they're able to just see everything, why am I having constriction here? Where's my tattoo from radiation is there, and just, this whole area got radiated, so it makes sense in a way that I'd have that constriction. But now that I've gone through this COVID stuff, I don't know if they'll be able to see anything in my lungs, but I'm looking forward to it. The only thing I'm doing is I want to know about the sedatives. I'm so pharmaceutical adverse just because my platelets haven't recovered. I think I know that, or I've learned that the more chemicals I put into my body, the more my body just can't recover on its own. The platelets, for whatever reason, I'm not able to, my body's not able to reverse this low platelet problem. I also had such a high incidence of platinum in my body when we did all this heavy metal testing and mineral testing and stuff like that, which really floored me because it's been 3 years since chemo. 3 years, that's a long time for me to still have that heavy a load of heavy metal in my body. Oh, I'm running out of room on my phone. So I will be getting an endoscopy hopefully pretty soon, and we'll see what's happening, and hopefully we can take our road trip, and maybe I'll upload some of that stuff. I've been posting a lot more on TikTok. I don't know if you're on TikTok, you should go on it. It's really fun. There's a big cancer community there. There's a whole bunch of stuff, for every age range, but it's a really great community there as well. So yeah, just a little update how it's going. Hopefully this COVID thing isn't going to plague me for too long, and we can carry on with our fun summer plans, and hope you're well. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. I'm still like 5 or 6 days into COVID, but actually I want to talk about something else today. When I first got diagnosed with cancer, one of the naturopathic medical doctors I saw said, "Figure out what you did and stop doing it." I kind of laughed at that, like, okay, what did I do and how am I going to figure it out? But after having cancer, having gone through this process for over 4 years, I've really put a lot of thought into how the fuck did I get cancer? I think the answer is really individual for each person. If you ask the medical community, they'll tell you various things. I think a lot of people think it's what you eat or environmental factors. Obviously, there's a hereditary component, but if you don't have that hereditary piece, like, okay, then what? I spoke to a lot of women who had breast cancer on the left side over their heart, and pretty much all of them within the previous 5 to 6 years had suffered some sort of traumatic event, whether it was the death of somebody close to them or divorce or something real significant in their lives. I do think there is something to that. And then I also learned that wherever there's inflammation in our body, that is a really vulnerable place to cancer. So, we have to be careful and take care of ourselves as best we can, because cancer could arise there. I had no idea about that. So for me, I had left side over my heart breast cancer. I had a really traumatizing divorce and custody battle with my child when she was really little. And it was really the hardest thing I had ever gone to. It was I was an emotional wreck during that time. So there's that. And I also had some damage, like actual physical damage in that area. So for me, I think really there's a combination of having gone through this really intense emotional experience, divorce, custody, all that stuff, and then having had a physical injury right in that same place. The other thing that's so interesting is that at the time I really wanted to have another child, and I was older, so I was trying to make sure I was as fertile as I could be, taking all these different kinds of estrogenic hormonal supportive things like shatavari and a bunch of herbs and stuff like that. And it turned out that I ended up with hormone-driven cancer, so I find that part a little bit interesting. And I do think all the environmental things are important, and clean water and, all of those things. But I'm not so sure it's the full story. I think a person has to figure it out for themselves. And I think in my case, it was kind of just this perfect storm.